Welcome back. I'm Emily at Emily's podcast, Tribute to All Little Angels. Part 1, Episode 6 of Refresh Our Memory. This morning, my friend from birth, Patty, she lived next door to my family until we were both out of high school. We went our separate ways. From the early 1980s until 2015, we had lost touch. But Christmas Eve 2015, Patty found me, and we've been in touch ever since. She is the one who gives me advice, writes letters to anyone and everyone who will read them. At 9:52 a.m., Patty called. I wasn't able to answer because I was busy, so I will call her back. Patty then messaged. She wrote, I'm just checking on you. 10:34 a.m., I did return her call. I told her of the denial letter from the Oklahoma Bar Association that they will not help either. Patty said, well then, we will write letters to Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, anyone who will read them. And I have written letters to Dr. Phil. And whether or not he reads my letters is a far cry chance, but I will keep reaching out. Patty said, I will write letters too, and I greatly appreciate that. At 12:53 p.m. this afternoon, I let Madison know the Bar Association is not going to help. And just a few minutes later, Patty messaged saying, I am writing letters, and I thank you, my lifelong friend. March 2nd, 2021. When I woke up this morning from not sleeping too well, my mind just won't shut off from all the denial. Why won't anyone help? I did today write out thank you notes to the Oklahoma Bar Association and the Oklahoma Funeral Board to let them know I appreciate their time. 12:07 p.m., I let Jen, my niece, know the Oklahoma Bar Association denied us. Jen said, and these are her words, this is a bunch of bull. Are they saving each other's ass? I myself have to wonder the same thing. Jen mentioned writing more letters and sending more emails out, and I greatly appreciate all she is doing and has done. She suggested we have to find someone outside of Oklahoma, and I agree. Jen said, I will do some research, and thank you so much for that. Madison did drop the thank you notes in the mail today at 12:21 p.m. At 12:29 p.m., I let my sister Susie know the Oklahoma Bar Association will not help. And she had a few choice words, but nothing I don't think I should repeat. But I get it. Anyone would in this situation. Then Susie said something encouraging. She told me not to worry too much about the letter. That's just a letter of no further investigation on the attorney. But you still have a case, whether they admit it or not. And thank you, Susie, for the words of encouragement. And I knew this fight was going to be tough. And I know the people of the state don't want to go against one another. But the bottom line is, there is something wrong. I said something as advised, as everyone is advised. When you know something, you say something. And not comprehending it on their part, it's a sad situation. But yet, I'm going to fight. Someone will listen. March 3rd, 2023. Patty messaged this morning to let me know the letters went out today, and with each one, a prayer was said. And I thank you so much. March 6, 2021. Yesterday, we briefly stepped away from it all to celebrate my great-grandson's birthday. It does a mind good to give it a break. Today we are back at it, looking up information of anyone we could send emails to and or letters to. March 7th, 2021. Madison and I went to the cemetery this afternoon to set flowers on Wyatt, my grandson's headstone, and to stick flowers in the ground west of the existing tree for Megan. And of course I took pictures. I was trying to reenact a picture without looking at the picture from the past. And it just seems no matter how many pictures I take or reenact, the results come out the same. The headstones were moved by floodwater, but it's been denied, ignored, and swept under the rug. But yet, here we are, putting it out there, and we plan to continue to do that. And it's not about the headstones being moved by floodwater anymore. It's also about they dumped water in a casket they just dug up onto the ground. How is any part of that right? And while being at the cemetery today, visiting and talking and praying to my angels, my grandbabies, I received a sense of, you've got this. I looked up and said, thank you. March 9th, 2021. Patty called this morning to reassure me she had sent more letters out, and if we don't hear anything back, she will continue to send letters. And gosh, I'm so grateful for all the ones who is helping and for the ones who have given advice. March 10th, 2021. Madison and I left to go to the cemetery. When I pulled into the west side street of the cemetery, I turned on the first left street, then down the center street in the cemetery, running the same direction as the west street and the east street. I wanted to get close enough to Megan's area to take a picture of that view of the scene. I did get that picture, but because the cemetery is having funerals this afternoon, I drove by to say hi to Wyatt, to tell him we love him, and then I drove by Megan's area again, and then we left the cemetery. March 11th, 2021. It seems as though the days lately that has passed, we have been sending out a lot of emails and writing a lot of letters, and I know I'm doing a lot of praying. I pray our letters are being received and read. And in today's daily word prayer, my prayer for today is, for sure, I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans for your welfare and not for harm, to give you a future with hope. Jeremiah 29:11. I'm keeping my thoughts and prayers positive, because I know He will resolve this in His own time. March 13th, 2021. As I sat today thinking about what we've done and what can be done, I thought last year we were sending out newspaper articles, letters written to the family members who did receive a letter, and my niece Jen set up the cemetery cover-up page on Facebook. I also sent letters to senators, state representatives, governors, the president, the vice president, and their wives. Also letters to Dr. Phil, actors and actresses. I sent information to the Oklahoma Bar Association, and a file was sent to the funeral board. And yet, we're still not being heard. I mean, come on. Someone read the timeline. Look at the pictures. Sit and talk with me. Just listen. That's all I'm asking. Take a look. And one more thing. I am a grandmother, a mother, a great-grandmother. I have so much precious time I could be spending with my family and my babies. I would not waste my time, your time, or anyone's time, even after all this time, 6 years, if this was not true. It needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be fixed. And one more thing, just keep in mind, after the city of Moore, Oklahoma cut the tree out after it cracked in half from a storm, we visited Megan under her tree, the South tree, the next 5 years until the day of the flood, May 7th, 2015. May 9th, 2015, when the roads reopened, that's when I found the headstones moved in the cemetery. Please keep that in mind. March 15th, 2021. When I woke up this morning, I had a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I prayed to God. At 2:21 p.m., Madison and I went to the cemetery to check on things. When I pulled in, I noticed a city truck parked in the grass behind the trees near the east-west street between Megan and Wyatt. As I pull up to Wyatt, Madison suggested, "Do not stop." And of course, I listened. I did not stop, but I did slowly drive by. As we passed the work truck, we noticed there were 2 men in the truck, and we both, Madison and I, kept an eye on them as I drove closer to Megan. I was able to take a couple pictures as I'm driving by. Then I drove off. And as I did, the city truck was coming up behind us, so I hurried and got out of their way and watched them leave the cemetery. We were then able to drive back around to visit with Megan and Wyatt. And then we left the cemetery. And I do have a question for these people. Doesn't your conscience bother you? And that's what's so hard about this. They don't want to acknowledge it, but they have done more than enough to cover up what has happened when all they had to do was fix it. March 17th, 2021. Another emotional morning, but as the day moved on, I found myself writing more and more letters. I wrote to celebrities. I wrote again to Dr. Phil. I wrote to anyone and some men I have written to or not written to yet. I even wrote letters to names that had come up on a TV program of different segments that were on. I then remembered I received a copy of a sample newspaper in the mail yesterday. I picked it up off the table today and I thought, I'm going to call the number or email the paper to see about an ad in this paper. Then as I'm watching a program, I heard someone say, "Never be sorry for telling the truth." And I thought right then, I'm not apologizing to Megan anymore. I'm not apologizing to my mother anymore about this, because every word of this story is 100% the truth. And then this afternoon when I talked to my friend, Patty, she suggested sending information out with some pictures. She also encouraged me, keep going, Em. We are not giving up on this. And believe me, my friend, I know that already. March 19th, 2021. Another bad gut feeling this morning. And lately I can't tell if it's because of the cemetery or the chaos going on in the world. This afternoon I started putting copies of pictures and a detailed description of the letter to the pictures, and I did 10 gold envelopes, and I started to address them to mail to different people. When my friend Lisa called this evening, I told her what I had been doing, She gave me a vote of confidence and thought it was a great idea. And of course, I appreciate that. March 20th, 2021. This morning, I knew I needed to finish the gold envelopes of information, and a thought came to mind. It seems as though when a letter or information needs to be sent out, I sit down, I pray, I get paper and pen, and my hands start writing, and sometimes I have to ask myself, where is this all coming from? Well, I know. Look up. That's who. And yes, I know it's not perfect, and it may need to be edited, but no matter how the word gets out there, it's fine, as long as we keep putting it out there. Then when my friend Lisa called this evening, while I worked on the letters and the detailed descriptions of the pictures, she gave me some pointers, and I did change a few things. I then copied it 10 times of each sheet, and she reminded me, keep sending and sending and sending. And I said, oh, girlfriend, I am, and I will. And thank you again for your help tonight. Then today, March 21st, 2021, Lisa messaged me to pay a couple compliments on my letter. She wrote, good job on that letter. I think it's perfect. She also told me, I had a dream last night about your cemetery case, and it does go to court. Usually when I dream, the dreams come true. I thought, wow, but it didn't have to come to this. Lisa said, I woke up when you were sitting with an attorney at the table with the prosecutor of the defense. I said, oh, wow. And to me at this point, it can happen as it happens. They could call me tomorrow and be honest, and we can get it done, or go to court. Either way, it's all truth. March 22nd, 2021. We went to the cemetery this afternoon. Megan's flowers are still stuck in the ground west of the tree. I did take a few pictures, and I noticed then the workers in the cemetery were digging in the dirt. I drove back to visit Wyatt, and then I drove back to the back of the cemetery and turned around and left the cemetery. For some reason, I have trust issues with these people. When I arrived home, I spent hours sorting pictures and copying of papers and documents. I had papers and pictures that covered the top of a pool table. But hey, I gotta do what I have to do, and I will continue to do that. March 23rd, 2021. My lifelong friend Patty called. She asked what else she can do. I replied by telling her, concentrate on the letter to the Epic Times newspaper. She said she would, and I greatly appreciate it all. At 3:20 p.m. this afternoon, I worked more on separating papers and pictures. I also had to number each page, and I'm staying busy and will be prepared. And at 6:58 p.m. this evening, I finished the case files. I did 10 of them, a letter included, the detailed letter, the descriptions of the pictures, with 17 pictures. 17 pictures to show when it should only take one. And I pray for someone, anyone, to help. I'm trying anything and everything I have to. There is no quitting. March 24th, 2021. This morning when I woke up, I have another bad gut feeling, and I'm fighting it to think positive thoughts. Then something came over me to reread the letter, the case file, to make sure there are no mistakes. And I did. Maybe that's why I was having that bad gut feeling. But I did double check all of it. March 25th, 2021. I swear I am being guided. March 26th, 2021. This early afternoon, it's like I have a premonition of Megan. It's telling me, let the letters, the packets of information, let them fall where they may. I did ask my angel to make sure the files fall into the right hands. March 28, 2021, 11:23 a.m. I sent an email with a short description of what my complaint is to Aaron Brockovich, and I did submit it. I received a message back saying, I have received your inquiry. I will review it and send a response. And I pray she does, or they will, and something will work out for Megan and the rest of the loved ones at that cemetery. Madison and I also went to the cemetery this afternoon, and Madison drove. She pulled into the cemetery, and for a split second, I felt I needed to look over to see if Megan's flowers were still there. And they were. After visiting Wyatt and driving back by Megan's area, I did take pictures. In fact, more than a few pictures. Madison pulled out of the cemetery, and I pray the letters, the packets of information this time, works for us, for all of us. March 29th, 2021. This morning, it is tough to get out of bed at times. I just wanted to lay here, and I started talking to God. I turned on the TV in the bedroom while I laid there, and on the TV there was a strip of news going across the bottom of the television screen. It said, volunteers to move gravestones back. And of course, it took me by surprise. And for a split second, I wished it was us. I read it to maybe get a contact number or who I could contact if I needed to. I also stayed busy today. I mailed the file information to the General Counsel of Washington, Dorian Quillen, 2 different addresses of Tyler Perry, Kris Jenner, Julia Roberts, Eric Clapton in the States, and the HHS of Washington. I sent 8 files to them today, and I will send more as soon as I get more ready. And as I mailed them, I said a prayer that they do fall into the right hands. March 30th, 2021. Waking up this morning, I woke up with the sweats. This is not easy. It has taken a toll on me. I sit and cry. I pray to God. And of course, I have a lot of questions. I've come a long way from the beginning of this. And believe me, I had no idea where to start. But Megan guided me. God guides me. And I know I'm meant to do this for him, for all of them. March 31st, 2021. Patty and I talked for a while today. I did send her a file of information and pictures, and she said, my gosh, Em, you definitely have a case. And I have never stepped foot in that cemetery, but I see it. I don't understand why they don't. And my question is the same question. Patty also said, stay strong and never let them see you cry. I said, my friend, it's too late for that. Thank you for listening. Stay kind with your words.